Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well this evening. Today, we are going to break down all things related to the Everton 0 Tottenham 3 match yesterday at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, which Thomas Frank's AI son was at himself in the away end, bigging up the Tottenham boys. And it was a game of corner kicks, pretty much. 2 goals for Mickey van der Ven, 2 headers, 2 set pieces. Bang. We are back as Set Piece FC. Although the third goal was very nicely flicked on by Richarlison himself, Thomas Frank's AI son's favourite player, and very nicely slid home with his head by Pape Matar, who looks defeated. He looks upset. I know there's some stuff off the field going on as well, but I think that's a statement in the way he reacted to that goal through the fact that a lack of playing time, perhaps not quite seeing eye to eye with Thomas Frank. Perhaps let's also not read into that too much, but good to see him back on the score sheet. Good to see him back amongst the minutes, and we will break things down for you guys today with the tactics board, with the JLA, James Lawrence Alcott, tactical sort of analysis pieces that we do. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. If you do, please do me a massive favor, guys. The views that you guys give us are most appreciated, but we want to get there to more and more people. So if you guys could do us all a massive favor and smash the likes, hit the like button as you come into this stream, guys. It does go an awful long way. Please turn on the notification bell as well if you are new to the Spurs-related YouTube channel. And if you're watching on Facebook and Twitter, please come over to YouTube. There is much more content over here. And subscribe if you are new. But big up yourselves that you're coming into the chat. Please say hello in the chat. And if you're watching on repeat, please also smash the like button and subscribe button and show your support. But Logan's in here saying, good evening, fellas. Big up. Solid performance. 0 complaints from me. I have a few complaints. I'm not going to pretend it's all rosy and pretty and happy. You know, I'm happy with the result. I take any sort of win there. 3-0 was probably flattering considering the way we played, if I'm being honest. I don't think we were incredible. I think certain players were brilliant. I thought certain players were still off it, but we'll get into things. Ghosted's in here, and as always, big up yourself, Ghosted. Really appreciate you joining, as always, mate. Appreciate all your support. And Logan saying, actually, I have one complaint. Rich, he should have scored that 1v1. That was terrible. That is where Thomas Frank's AI son will pick him apart. But let's welcome him on in, Frankie boy. How are you doing, my friend? Did you enjoy the game up at Everton yesterday?
I did. It was it's a lovely ground. It's a really lovely ground. It's kind of like ours, but I think 10,000 exactly smaller. Okay. So it feels a little bit more maybe homely than ours does. So it was nice. It was a nice ground. It's a nice away end, and I kind of went because it looks so similar to ours. That's what I imagine it feels like when a team comes to Tottenham and wins and sits in that corner of the ground, which is the same corner that we sat in. And I imagine it's that sort of feeling. So no, it was good. It was good, pretty good performance all in all. I think I was quite pleased with it, and the result was even better. So pretty good stuff all around.
Yeah, I'd agree. But you know what? Out of 10, if I had to rate the match out of 10, I could never give it more than a 7 out of 10 for how we played on average, to be honest, mate. I don't think it was exceptional. I don't think it was very good. I think it was just good, to be honest. And we will break things down as to where we can improve for you guys. As I said, we'll get straight into things with that tactics board in just a minute. But in terms of some of the key takeaways from yesterday's game, Tottenham's XG was only slightly better than Everton's with a 2.25 versus Everton's 1.66. And let's be honest, Frank, we have that man in goal to thank yet again for keeping that clean sheet. Let's be honest, Vicario with another exceptional performance. He's second best of the season, second to the game in Monaco in midweek. I mean, what a week for Vicario, by the way. He had a bit of pressure on him, including from us. If you remember, Frank, we were saying there is actually a few flaws with this guy. And let's be honest, there is still flaws with him, but he has made up for it, particularly in these last 2 matches. How good has he been, Frank?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the 2 sort of big saves he makes in the game are the entire one sort of from the edge of the area in the second half. It takes a couple of deflections, and obviously the Beto bicycle kick. The Beto bicycle kick save is ridiculous, like a ridiculous save. I mean, there was a lot of talk about the Dubravka save yesterday. I don't know if you've seen that in the Wolves game right at the end, and how it's probably one of the saves of the season. I think Vicario probably tops that. And yesterday alone, It's a ridiculous stop. And I mean, I read something today. I think he's prevented 3.5 expected goals in the last week. Like he's had an unbelievable week. My fear as the game was going on that his week was going too well for a Tottenham goalkeeper. But no, he did well. I'm pleased. Yeah, I mean, it's just some unbelievable bit of goalkeeping, and he kept us in a good place to be able to go and get the third a couple of minutes later.
100%, mate. He kept us in it at very key moments, and I completely, that stat about letting it keeping out 3.5 xg is incredible, really. I think Monaco, to be honest, I don't know what their xg was in the end, but it felt like it should have been 3 or 4, mate. So arguably saved 4 or 5, very clear goal scoring chances, and that Beto one, the reactions on that was incredible as well. Guys, what did you think? Little engagement piece. What did you think of Vicario's performance yesterday? Did you think it was worthy of one of the performances of the season in terms of goalkeeping performances? Because let's be honest, he really did keep us in it, especially against Monaco, but again, against Everton as well. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Stefan's in the chat as well. Big up Stefan. He says, Stefan Everton. He doesn't say Stefan Everton. That is his name. But he says, good evening, gents. Hope you are well. Hope your brother's okay. Matthew Everton as well. And Logan THFC. Vic's starting to perform now because there was talk he could have been dropped for Ginsley. Let's hope he can keep his consistent form. Absolutely agree with you, Logan. Spot on the money. And Frank, also going into like sort of who played well and who didn't play well yesterday, we have to analyze it. And guys, get your man of the matches in the chat. I mean, I'd be surprised if we don't all agree with this one today. But Mickey van der Ven with a 9.1. I actually gave him a 9.5 on my Finalysis rating that I'm currently a part of. And I also put in Bentancur at second. So I agree with this. I thought he had an exceptional game. And I was wrong, Frank. I said that Bentancur should have been dropped. Actually, he was one of our better players yesterday. I thought he really, really did well, both offensively and defensively. I thought Palhinha was exceptional again, perhaps not even the star of the show, but certainly putting in those big challenges yet again. I thought Jed Spence got done a few times by what is an incredible player in Iliman Ndiaye. I mean, absolutely exceptional. Dancing feet in the first half, absolutely skinned him a couple of times. I don't think anyone was really going in the penitentiary there this week. But Porro, again, thought he had a good game. But in terms of the kind of players that I was surprised about yesterday, one is Bentancur, because that flick on with the shoulder was absolutely exceptional. But Brennan Johnson actually took on his man, which gave us that corner kick, didn't it, Frank, for the second goal? I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm pleased that he looked like he was playing with a little bit more confidence than he has been, because I wanted Brennan to start yesterday, so I'm glad he did. Because I think with Brennan, he was kind of, when you look at the team last year, you had Maddison, Son, Solanke, Kulusevski, and Johnson mainly playing in that side. You've lost all of those goals this season, and you're taking Johnson out. And so at least with Johnson coming back, you do have that sort of goal threat. And so I was glad that he played. I thought he was pretty good by all accounts. I thought he played quite well. I think Van der Ven is probably the obvious man of the match. I thought all of the back line were pretty good. I thought Spence dealt with Ndiaye pretty well. I thought Ndiaye had a pretty good game. But just as well, I read something last night which I thought was incredible. You sort of said about his dancing feet. And it reminded me that I found out that his dad was apparently a dance choreographer, which makes it even more sort of incredible. I mean, I said it in the summer that the thought of him on one wing, Kudus on the other, and Simmons and Solanke, and then Kulusevski and Solanke is a hell of a thought. So yeah, I mean, I thought they all dealt with him well. I thought the two in midfield were excellent, Bentancur especially, but I thought they were both excellent. I thought Kudus had his moments of looking quite good. It's kind of the same with Simmons, and I thought those three up front kind of started to link quite well by the end. And then he brought Kolo Muani and Simmons off in sort of the earliest 60th minute or whatever it was. So I thought in the second half, in those 15 minutes before they came off, those three started to link up quite nicely. And Simmons started sort of warm into the game, and then they obviously came off, and so that changed. But yeah, all in all, pretty good all round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kolo Muani was a much better outlet yesterday than what Tell and Richarlison and Who else have we tried up in the number 9? I mean, yeah, he was a lot better. He was a lot better. I thought Xavi Simons, I got to say, I know you said he's sort of done a good few passages of play with some of those players, but I thought yesterday he lost the ball a couple of times in key areas. Not to get on his back so soon because it is early days, but Xavi Simons, for me, is looking like the shadow of the player that he was at Leipzig so far. I think it's fair to say. And not that I've got massive concerns, and I think he will turn it round, but sort of you could see how angry he was when he came off. I know you were at the game, Frank, but when the TV cameras went on him when he came off, he was absolutely livid that he was coming out of the game in the 60th minute. And let's be honest, I think Thomas Frank made probably the right decision. I know you mentioned to me offline or at some point you said basically you thought he was starting to warm to the game and maybe it was a little bit early, but to be honest with you, mate, I think it was absolutely perfect from Thomas Frank yesterday. I think he made the right decisions at the right time as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the two that he brought on, especially these two in Sarr and Bergvall, I thought were excellent. The pair of them when they came on, Sarr especially, but I thought both of them were was the best I've seen Bergvall in a little while. I thought as well. Quietly sort of went about his game and played well. And Sarr just used his energy to sort of kill the game off and did well. And so yeah, I think the changes he made were right in the end. I was a bit disappointed to see Simons come off because I want to see him play, because I want to see him sort of perform. But I can see why he did, and I think he probably made the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into things in a bit more detail in just a minute. Logan's saying that I think Spence is having a blind. I think you mean he's having a shocker, because blinder means he's doing well, mate. But just my opinion, Doji over Spence. Can't wait for him to be back. Xavi is also having a shocker start to the Prem. Really hope he can adapt. Absolutely, just like I'm saying. But it is early days, Frank, isn't it? And it's going to take a little bit of time to sort of get up to speed with the league and sort of start to seeing his sort of impact that he's going to make. But guys, we will get into, like I said, those tactics boards, which you guys seem to enjoy. But in terms of the key stats from the game, Everton actually had 5 more shots than us with 12. But shots on target, it was very wasteful from them. I think Garner probably had one of their best chances where he sort of shot from just outside the box. Oh, have I just lagged? What's going on? Oh, it's just Frank. It's just Frank.
That's me. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I thought I'd lagged out. But yeah, do you remember Garner's shot that just fizzed past the post? That one. That was very close. But yeah, big chances 4 against 3. Big chances missed. Spurs missed 1, but Everton missed 3. And I think a lot of that is from what you'd say is because of Vicario, right, mate?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think what the other big chance was. Oh, maybe it was the Grealish one at the back post early on. Actually, it might have been that one that was blocked. Because then, other than that, I'd say the bicycle kick, and I'm not really sure what else. I mean, they had 2 shots on target, so I don't think they were. They had chances and they swung a lot into the box. And knowing Tottenham, kind of felt like they were probably going to get one back. But I never really felt they were going to probably score a couple. To be really brutally honest, as in, if it wasn't Tottenham, if I was watching that game from a neutral standpoint, I'd probably go Spurs have that wrapped up, because we were quite in control of just heading the ball out and heading the ball. I think because it was Tottenham and I know what Tottenham are capable of, we all knew that we were probably more worried than we should have been. So yeah, I think we dealt with it well. I think the goalkeeper made a difference. I think the 2 centre halves were sublime. And yeah, they dealt with it and they managed it well, I think.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And guys, put in the chat now, little engagement piece, who you think the man of the match was yesterday. Surely Van de Ven, but maybe put your top 3 players that you'd say were Spurs top 3. I'd probably go with on this again, just going back one. I'm going to go for Van de Ven, Bentancur, and Vicario. I think, yeah, probably Van de Ven, Vicario, and Bentancur in that order, actually. That's who I would be going for. I just think they were absolutely brilliant yesterday, all 3 of them. I actually thought Danzo had a really, really good game again. Very, very solid. Seems quite comfortable. Everyone's saying he's not great on the ball. I actually think he's comfortable on the ball for a good few touches. And then, yeah, you want him to release it. You obviously don't want him to make a Van de Ven sort of run. But I think he's relatively comfortable, mate. I think he gets a bit too much criticism about how he is on the ball. I'm not saying he's like insane on the ball, but I think he is decent. He does a decent job. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'd have him in my top 3 from yesterday.
Really?
It'd be Vicario, Van der Ven, and then one of Bentancur or Danso.
Okay.
It's tight. If there's a top four, they're a comfortable top four. Put it that way. But I thought all four of them were excellent. But I think Danso, I think we've got his numbers sort of to look at in a minute. I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday. Like literally just won everything. I think the only problem with him, and I want to pick this up very briefly, because I haven't got a picture of it, but one issue with him is there's a little bit, obviously because he's probably not the same level, but there's a little bit of a lack of sort of belief in him, maybe himself. Some of the time, I find that he seems to be a little bit deeper than everyone else in that back line. And I don't know if that's because he's not as comfortable or not as believing that he's going to win a ball by playing high. And Romero can play this high line because he knows that he's capable of doing so. And maybe Danso doesn't believe that he is. But he always seems to be a yard or two deeper. And then it brings you back. I mean, I think I mentioned it the other day after the Monaco game that they were kind of defending at points on the edge of the 6-yard box. If that was Christian Romero, they're probably on the penalty spot. And that pushes the whole team up. And then you're not being pinned back as much. And I think so at times it felt like we were probably being pinned back yesterday. And I think a lot of that probably comes from his positioning at times. But I thought his general just defending was superb. And I was very impressed with his overall game.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, for sure. And I think we'll break down some key parts to that as well. And here it is about Danso himself. Clearances 18, duels 1, 6, fouls committed 0. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Do you say you would put him in your 3, mate? You're going for Van der Ven, Danso, Vicario, or Bentancur?
I think it'd be the back 3, and then Bentancur's sort of on the cusp of it. I thought he was absolutely excellent, Bentancur, and I love Bentancur. And I've said for a while I'm a fan.
Here, haven't
I think he's brilliant, but I think I'd probably have to go with those 3 at the back. I thought they were excellent.
Sure, no, absolutely. What's the point? FC's in here. Big up. How are you guys? It's been a while, mate. I hope you are well. We are all good. Thank you for joining. I'm very glad. Logan saying Vicario, Mickey Van der Ven, and Bentancur as your top 3. I'm very glad we have Danso as that Romero replacement, solid defender who isn't scared to get stuck in either. Absolutely agree with you. Ghost is saying you can't fool the work that has been done so far defensively. We went from being a mess at the back to solid in just 3 months. Absolutely, mate. I completely agree. What's the point? We are horrible to watch. Do you know what? I didn't find it entertaining in that first half. And even though we went 1-0 up, I was just sitting there thinking we could easily sort of concede and go no, was it was 2-0 at the break? No, 1-0. Trying to think now.
It was 2-0 at the break.
2-0 at the break. It was just before, wasn't it? Because there was loads of minutes added on. It was right in stoppage time. Everton were much better than us going forward at times, but when you have a player like Iliman Ndiaye, who is exceptional, he's essentially their Kudus, isn't he? He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Imagine having both of them on each side, mate. It would be absolutely insane. I want him for sure. I can't believe that I'm declaring that I just distracted as to how well Everton was playing going forward. Everton was so unlucky. They were much better than us with the ball. Mirage fan is saying, as Spurs fans, if our attack is terrible as it is, it's going to be revolt. Minch is in here. Big up, Minch. Hope you're well, mate. He says, slow process, step by step. Fans have lost their patience. We were trash last season. What's the point? Saying Grealish was brilliant. He was good. I thought Grealish was good. He's such a wonderful player. I think he's still a really good player in Jack Grealish. I really do. But Frank, we're going to get into the things on the tactics board. Guys, I hope you are enjoying. The numbers are great. I really appreciate all of you joining. Please, please, please. It helps us out massively, guys. It is free to do so. Please do make sure you're hitting the like button. It is absolutely free. Turn on the notification bell as well, please, for me. It's free to do so as well. And subscribe if you are new to the Spurs-related podcast. I appreciate everyone that's new and old. Well, not like you're old, but, you and existing subscribers. I've not worded that very well, have I, Frank? Get myself in trouble. But, guys, really appreciate it if you could hit the like, subscribe, and notice on. And if you are in a position to do so and you want to support the channel further, for example, Frank and I are about to invest in some, what are they called? Ring lights or something, stuff like that. Help us get more equipment, better mics and stuff like that. There is also the membership option down below, which is a $2.99 per month subscription. It goes an awful long way. I mean, you guys can also come on this channel and have your say, which is excellent as well. And there's other perks like priority in the chat as well. So that's in the link at the top link in the description, or there's a join button as well. And of course, the super chat option is available if you want to skip the queue, have your say, and ask a question for the panel. They are all not compulsory, but very much appreciated. If we play like this come next season, I don't think we'll be up for long. I think Lolo did well in this match. Xavi is the weak link. We're going to analyze this now further, guys. Frank has done a great job in analyzing these pieces for you guys, which hopefully help you out. So we can call it Monday Night Football, Frank, because it is Monday night, a little Monday night football segment that we do. And hopefully you guys enjoy this bit. And please feel free to comment your thoughts on these pieces as well. But I'm going to let Frank sort of explain the first couple of screenshots he's got for us here.
Yeah, so there's, I think we've got 5 screenshots, which are actually 3 different sort of pieces of play. The first being the first chance they had early on, and Dyer is on the ball there, and he puts in a cross, which, if I can sort of obviously demonstrate it, ends up with Jack Grealish at the back post here. He hits a volley, and Porro, who is on the line here, blocks it really well. Slightly fortunate as he's not really actually looking, but it hits his back, hits his back right leg, or his right leg, which was the further back of the two. He's not got 4 legs, and he gets away with it, and we're lucky to get away with it. But there's a few issues. There's a couple of issues, and it's things I've sort of said about before. First things first, that I like is Brennan Johnson is actually back. It's something that we've kind of had to go at him for a lot last year. He didn't track back. He didn't get back. Did here, fantastic. Porro has absolutely no idea whatsoever whether Jack Grealish is behind him. That to me is a concern. So I'm all for Brennan Johnson coming back, but maybe Johnson should actually be looking at him. But then Johnson isn't looking at him solely because Johnson's looking at this area because of these two again. And as great as they were, I'm going to pick them out again because they're kind of just nowhere to be seen. And I hate to sort of, that's wrong of me. It feels wrong of me to have a go at them because they played so well. But if I just bring that 1 second, but when you look at what Johnson sees sort of in front of him, right, he's got this sort of that gap there. He can see that, or he looks this side and he goes this side to Grealish. Now, this gap in the middle is too big. I want to say that is a Idrissa Gueye midfield. I want to say it's a Idrissa Gueye midfield there. Now, this is a very, very simple bit of play for Everton. Either Ndiaye puts a cross into Jack Grealish, which he does, and it's quite an easy ball into the back post, or he rolls it back here, right, and Garnagay comes across it and smashes it into the net or towards the goal. And so that in itself is a problem. One of these two in midfield have to be here. One of them have to be here. It's a concern to me that this is a repeating pattern. I feel like we say this after every single game, that these two aren't doing this and aren't actually learning. They're both experienced enough that they should be better at this. And as brilliant defensively as Palhinha is, this is a problem because I literally feel like I've got about 1 million screenshots on this laptop of the same mistake in a number of different games. And so that has got to change and has got to improve.
As in the gap between Bentonga, Palhinha and being in the same position and a massive gap, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then occasionally listen, we get lucky this time that the ball isn't then played there. But if the ball is played there, that gap between the sort of the 4 closest players or the 5 closest players, I mean, look at the space that he's in. And I'm saying that maybe Johnson could come across, fine. It's not his job, but maybe he could come across. But then you've got Mikalenko down here who will then just sort of have free space to sort of run into there. You've got Grealish, who's then Porro has to be switched on with Grealish, and Porro doesn't seem to be very switched on at all. Danso's sort of fighting with Beto in the middle, so Mickey van der Ven's free. Van der Ven's kind of in the right place. I don't have a problem with Van der Ven's positioning, but I have a problem with these two again, and that to me is a bit of a concern.
Why do you think they bunch? And especially, like, we've pretty much had this exact, like you said, this exact screenshot for a number of games. I remember it happening several times in the Brighton game. Why is it they seem to bunch on that sort of right-hand side together as a pair? Or it's the other way around where they're literally not paired at all. One is further up the pitch in Bentancur. And actually, we've actually seen it where Bentancur is sort of almost in that gap that's there, and then Palhinha's further forward, or he's gone somewhere else. It's almost like they don't sort of work quite right in the pair. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not necessarily upset with how, especially both of them performed yesterday. I thought both of them were very, very good yesterday, especially Palhinha with his, ball winning ability again, putting in the crunching tackles, but Bentancur also offensively doing really well from that corner kick. But actually, as a pair, I don't think they actually work amazing as a pair. I don't know how to explain it. Perhaps people don't agree with me, but I don't think they actually know each other well enough to be a formidable two in all games.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of always thought that Palhinha suited games like this that were slightly scrappier and slightly, you can throw yourself around and win tackles and things. And I think he does. And I always thought Bentancur suited games that were, ones that where you could knock the ball around and control the ball for a while. And I think that's where I was probably wrong, in that I think Bentancur suits games like this, where they are scrappy and they are sort of pretty average games in terms of there's not a great quality, because he's actually so high in quality himself that on the ball, when that game is scrappy and when the game does become sort of real, sort of like a basketball game, to proper end to end, and it gets very scrappy, he's one of the very few to put his foot on it and calm it down, and I think that suits him. So right now, maybe they're not clicking as well as I think they could, but I think in certain games like yesterday, we'll see that I think they'll have games like yesterday where they play that well together. But this is something that needs to be sorted out, and because, as I say, we conceded at Brighton because of it. We conceded. I want to say Bodo Glimt. We conceded one because of it as well, or we certainly could have conceded about four because of it in that game. Villa, we conceded twice because of reluctance.
Bournemouth, terrible.
Bournemouth, yeah. I mean, so that needs to change. Once they get that sorted, then I think there's less defensive problems to really look at, and there's very few in that case. Actually, I think we're going to be in quite a good place.
Sure, absolutely. We'll come on to the next screenshot in just a minute, guys. Hope you are enjoying it. Someone actually just said that it feels like I'm watching a match of the day when Frank talks about this bit. Absolutely love it. Frank can't turn average forwards into top players in such a short time, while also fixing the defence and playing 2 games a week. One thing he always done at Brentford was his forward line, getting them firing. I completely agree with you, Ghosted. You look at Mbuemo, you look at Schade, you look at Visser as well, who, by the way, could be an absolute stinker from Newcastle. Apparently, Visser has some sort of long-term injury that apparently is they were fearful of when he turned 30, and he's only 28 or 9. So I think he's 29. So could be having real injury problems for the rest of his career, which is obviously awful. But absolute stinker from Newcastle. I can't speak to what our attack will look like. I can only speak for what it is, and I think it'll be tiring, but I'm not a detractor. When we have to break teams down, they don't have the skill set to do it. They are better in games where we have to defend more. Exactly. The likes of PSG away, the likes of Man City away, where ironically they had their best games probably as a pairing, I think. Mirage fans saying, in my opinion, during defence, since Palhinha is lower down the field, he goes off and tries to win the ball. I think you're right. But Lolo, when returning, takes a while to get up and start the press, which is disjointed. I do agree. Mirage fan, if the owners sign us left winger, that may also help. It doesn't help that Xavi has been non-existent since he arrived. I think we need a bit more cohesion in terms of our front four. It's getting there, but I think Xavi Simons is a long way off. So I think we'll get there eventually, guys. Hope you are enjoying this so far. Please get your questions in for us as well. We'll go on to the next one now. But guys, I know I've already plugged it twice, but please do make sure you're hitting the like. The numbers have been fantastic so far. I can see there's good numbers on YouTube and Twitter. So if you are on Twitter and Facebook, please come over to the YouTube channel where we do pretty much daily content. Make sure you're hitting the like button on YouTube, turning on the notification bell, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing if you are new. That is most appreciated, guys. Honestly, it does go a long way. As well as, of course, if you're watching on repeat, make sure you're whacking in your likes and your comments as well. I read absolutely all of them, don't I, Frank? But we'll get back into things. This is the second screenshot that Alan Hansen's going to analyze. Sorry, I mean Frank Thomas.
So this is sort of a less of an almost analysis piece, but I wanted to pick this bit up because it was the first sort of real sign, I think, of Kolo Muani, Kudus, and Simmons linking up. So there's 2 screenshots that you'll see. It's obviously you've got Kudus in the middle here, Kolo Muani in here, and Xavi Simons in there. And Kudus skipped past his man in here and does really well, and then plays it into Kolo Muani, which we will see in this. Plays a good ball into Kolo Muani. Now the movement's really, really good from not only him and Kudus to actually get around his man and carry the ball. It's great. The touch from Kolo Muani is fantastic. It's well weighted. It's perfect, and it's a pass really of someone with high quality. I would love to see the day that Richarlison even attempts that.
Hey, mate, you got an assist yesterday. Careful what you're saying here.
I mean, I'm not sure it was the highest of quality of assists. It was decent. It was decent. But I saw he was reposting it on TikTok today, and that annoyed me. But yeah, it's a high quality ball. It's well weighted. It's everything about it is good. And Simmons' movement is really good, right? He realizes, he gets himself back on side, and he goes, and that's good. He gets a little bit unlucky was that his first touch is actually pretty good, and Michael Keane makes what is just a very, very good tackle. Actually, to be fair to him, and that was less on Xavi Simmons' part and more on just good defending. But those three linked up, and we saw it again quite a lot at little points. I thought in little glimpses in the second half, in those sort of 15 minutes where I started to see it. Yeah, it's not the finished article. Certainly not. We're certainly away from the finished article. But I think there's glimpses, and I think that providing they are all fit, there's obviously no reason they're not. Providing they're all fit, then in the league and the Champions League, this has to be, for me, the sort of starting three with one other, which I would probably give to Brennan Johnson, because I think he's the one that offers you the biggest goal threat, probably that's fit at the club right now.
Absolutely. And in terms of like the positioning here as well, you said Kolo Muani laid it off to Xavi, right? And sorry, not to Xavi, to Kudus.
Kudus lays it off to Kolo Muani, and then Kolo Muani plays it through to Xavi Simmons.
And Xavi kind of fluffed it, or took too long, right?
It's quite a good touch, and as he sort of goes to hit it, Michael Keane puts in a really good challenge and takes him out. Basically, it's good defending as opposed to poor from Xavi Simmons.
Got it. Yeah, and in terms of your comment there about sort of the front four going forwards, I think I'd agree. I think you kind of got to keep the team relatively the same for the next few games. Well, certainly the next game. Obviously away at Newcastle. Not looking forward to that. I'm sure we'll do a little preview on that tomorrow, Frank. But yeah, I think, would you go for the same front four midweek?
No, is the honest answer.
Odobert?
I would probably start Odobert. I'd start Tell, or maybe I'd start Odobert on the right. I'd maybe start Tell on the left and Richarlison up front. I know we all want to win something, and I know for me, I would probably look to quote unquote throw the game tomorrow on Wednesday night. And I know that's not but for me, Chelsea is far more important. Chelsea, Copenhagen, and Man United for me all take superior importance to Newcastle on Wednesday night in the next 10, 15 days. I don't know
if I agree, mate. I don't know if I agree. I think it's really important we stay in the League Cup, because if you remember under Ange, when we sort of did throw it and he made 9 changes at Fulham, we ended up losing that on penalties. Do you remember the absolute pelters that he got? So we could see a sort of resemblance there and a repeat performance if we end up sort of throwing that Newcastle game, limiting our options of what we're going to win. Mate, we're not going to win the Premier League, let's be honest. We're not going to win the Champions League, let's be honest. So actually, realistically, the League Cup is one of 2 competitions that we can actually win. I understand what you're saying. You think Chelsea is a super important game, and of course it is. We seem to not have much luck at Chelsea in recent years, especially even at home. But like, come on, we've got to be still into the League Cup 4th round. We need to, and I know Newcastle away is tough, but I think he has to go out there with his best team, mate. I think he does.
I think the problem is, I think you have to sort of continue. They're in a good trot of form in the league. They're in a good place in the league, and Chelsea and Man United become almost winnable games in the sense that after this they play Arsenal away. I was looking at the run they've got over Christmas, and it's not pleasant. They're away at Palace, they're away at Forest, they got Liverpool at home. They've got games that are certainly banana skins. So Chelsea and United at home actually look quite appealing, and I think they probably have to win those 2, or take 4 points from them. If they want to be serious, if they can get through that, if they can go into the international break they might lose to Newcastle, but having beaten Copenhagen and taken 4 points in those 2 league games, I'll be very happy. I'd much rather than beat Chelsea than Newcastle, personally. And I get the point with the Carabao Cup, but for me, for the progression long term under Thomas Frank, for the longer term progression, I think the Carabao Cup doesn't particularly aid what we're trying to do. I think getting back into the Champions League and having that financial backing from the Champions League that allows you to then go and improve and do that. As we saw last year, we won something and the manager was sacked 2 weeks later. So as much as I want to win things, and that was a far better evening, the 21st of May, than any other night I've had supporting Tottenham. I think being in the Champions League next year, in where we are currently, is more important for the progression than winning the League Cup. And listen, I'd love to win the League Cup, and it'd be amazing if we go to Newcastle. But also as well, not throw the game, but if players like Richarlison and Matthias Tell and Wilson Odobert and Bergvall and Sarr and these players who are kind of on the cusp, if they want to be deemed players that are in the first team, then give them an opportunity on Wednesday night and say to them, right, this is your chance, right? This is your chance to actually get into the first team. It's so great telling me that they'll sitting, Pape Sarr saying, "Oh, I should be playing," or Richarlison doing this and that. "Oh, he should be playing. He's amazing," and this and whatever. But if when you're actually given that opportunity, like I imagine will be on Wednesday night, not actually performing, and I think Kudus needs a rest. I think he needs to be taken out of it for 10 minutes. I think the guys we're burning him out, and that's a worry before Christmas. So I think a few of them will start. I think Xavi Simons might start. That wouldn't shock me. But I think he will leave Palhinha out. I think he'll leave Bentancur out. I think he'll leave Kolo Muani out, Kudus out. So I think a lot of that team, ultimately as well, defensively, we don't have many options. That I think Gray will start at the back somewhere. I think Torre will probably be left out. And the centre halves, if Romero's fit, then if Romero's fit for Chelsea, then they might go with Van der Ven and Danso. If he's not, it wouldn't shock me if they either play Palhinha there or went for like Juno Byfield and went young, just because they have nothing else.
No, I don't think he's going to go for that. I don't think he's going to go for like Williams, Barnett, Byfield. I don't think he's going to go that.
No, I just think as far as the centre backs, because we literally Takai, we don't even know if he exists.
What about Jagistin? When's he back?
I don't know. I don't know, but I know it's not yet. And it's like Takai, is he real? Does he exist? I mean, I saw, I think it was #United released a thing the other day where they announced that they had 2 AI footballers playing for him now.
Who?
I mean, maybe #United, that sort of YouTube team. They said that they had 2 AI footballers who are playing for them. They made social media profiles and all this for them. So maybe that's what Takai is. Because Takai is. Maybe he doesn't actually exist.
You have an AI footballer.
I don't know.
Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent. Where am I going? Mirage fan, Xavi needs to get grips with the physicality of the Premier. We're good. We need a Bentancur upgrade who can break the lines. He's also saying if Muani isn't firing by Jan, we may also need a striker, but my main priorities in Jan would be the left wing and a midfielder that can break the lines and dictate the tempo of the game. John Stokes is saying, let's be frank, with the pun there. I don't know if you meant it, but James is right. He's saying more chance of winning League Cup than the Champions League. I don't think you disagree with that comment. I think you're saying that you think the Prem and the Champions League should be the bigger focus. And for me, like you said, I mean, silverware just brings a completely different vibe to this football club. If we can start winning stuff consistently, again, I say again, with go back to winning stuff consistently, you're going back to the 80s and 90s, aren't you really? Probably more the 80s. But I mean, like, if we could win a League Cup and come 7th, I'm taking that over coming 4th with no trophy. I don't know if you agree. Maybe it's a question for the chat. I'm taking a League Cup win. I'm taking a League Cup trophy and 7th place over Champions League and no trophy any single day of the week. Call me mad. For me, if you can prove you're winning stuff consistently, you're not only not a banter club, but it's an absolute taste of success. It does absolute wonders for the dressing room. And yes, we were in a rare exception where we did sack the manager after winning a trophy. Rightly or wrongly, everyone was on the sort of fence, weren't they? It was pretty much a 50-50 split, if you remember. It then sort of caused a bit of a divide in the fan base, and then we started to see that eke in with some bad performances. That's why that Everton win was also so big, because the divide in the fan base was starting to get bigger and bigger. And that win has just sort of silenced it a bit. and given Thomas Frank that sort of breathing space, if you like. Not to say he was under pressure, but he was certainly getting some pelters by some sort of division of fans. And I think that was absolutely wrong. And I think that it's brilliant, that win. It's absolutely brilliant because you know what? As we reviewed, there is some tough games coming up for us, mate. You said it yourself. Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away in a couple of weeks will not be a fun one to go to. We've also got Man United at home as well. There is some very difficult fixtures. So to win games like at Everton is absolutely huge. And I know we weren't absolutely massively convincingly good, but for me, any day of the week, guys, let me know what you think. I think a trophy and 7th over 4th and no trophy. But you don't agree with me, do you, Frank? And you can try and convince me, but I for me, I think silverware is what you do play the game for. You win it, you win a trophy. It's the best feeling ever, and we haven't had that sort of taste of victory more than twice in our lifetime. So for me, if we can start winning stuff consistently, we become a more serious club rather than just getting Champions League and going out in the groups or going out in the round of 16. I think you're a more serious club if you start to win trophies more regularly. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree, and as I say, that the 21st of May was the first time in my lifetime that I can remember that I've experienced that, and so it was incredible, like incredible, and I loved it, and I still love it now. I just I just think where we are now in building foundations, I think. I mean, it depends. If you can finish 5th and win the Carabao Cup, and somehow get into the Champions League, if I finish in 5th, we get fantastic. But my fear is if they focus too much on this, then all of a sudden they lose to Chelsea and they drop down to 6th or something. That's fine. And then they draw 1-1 with Man United, or worse, lose to Man United, and that fella cuts his hair. And we go into the international break 9th. And yeah, and all 4, God forbid, we play a strong team against Newcastle and still lose, which is quite feasible away at Newcastle, who have got, I think I read, one of the better defensive records in the league and have started quite nicely. They've been okay of recent sort of weeks. So my fear is that they go really strong, end up losing, and then it hinders the games after. Because you have to go strong against Copenhagen. You can't go ridiculously weak because it's a Champions League game, and they need to actually get some points under their belts. They need to go and make it 8 and try and get into that top 8, because if you don't finish in the top 8, then you're going to have 2 more games in January, and then it only builds up more and more and more, and that becomes a problem in itself, because then when you've got, I don't know, in the back end of January, start of February, you might have Carabao Cup semi-finals as we had last year, and 2 extra European games on top of everything else. It becomes a backlog of things, and then you pick up injuries, and then you struggle. And we don't have a particularly big squad to focus on. I don't think to focus on that yet. If we get through, great. But my kind of belief is that listen, we can still go strong enough. And by throw it, not throw it. I think it's probably the wrong word. But Bergvall, Sarr, and Simmons in midfield with Theo Alderweireld and Richarlison up front, or Theo Alderweireld and Johnson up front, should kind of you have in the cups, you play slightly weaker teams anyway, and that is a slightly weaker team. But all of those guys are players that have played in the Premier League and Champions League this year, Bartel in the Champions League, and want to be part of the first team constantly.
Sure, but you're almost saying to me, Frank, that you don't care if we lose that game. I care if we lose that game, and I'm not confident for that game, but I would rather us. We're going to take it seriously and play slightly weaker team, right? I get that, and so will Newcastle. But for me, I think Thomas Frank has to go into that thinking this isn't an option to lose. I think for me, beating Newcastle away in that cup, you look at some of the other teams. I'm pretty sure, I need to remind myself, but I'm pretty sure some of the Prem teams have drawn each other. If you get past that game and you get a favourable draw in the 4th round and then maybe the 5th round, suddenly you're in a quarter-final with potentially only a couple of other Premier League teams. You need to be in and amongst that to have probably the best chance of winning a trophy this season, and that is in the League Cup, 110%. FA Cup, we may also get lucky with the draw, but for me, the League Cup now, this is the biggest draw. This should be almost seen to be, for me, as like a quarter-final, because if we win this, I think we should get a better draw in the 4th round, and suddenly you're on the fringes of getting into a quarter-final, a semi-final of the Cup, and who doesn't like a day out of Wembley, mate? For sort of the final as well. I think for me, I take this match as seriously as any other for me anyway, but fans don't agree. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. We've spoken about it enough between us, guys. Let us know how serious you think we should be come Wednesday night. But maybe we'll do a little match preview for that tomorrow. Guys, I can see the numbers are growing. There's about 100 of you watching on all socials. Brilliant support tonight. Really appreciate it. Please make sure you are hitting the like button, turning on the notification bell, all free to do so, and subscribe as well. We're on a march to 5,000 subscribers over on YouTube. So if there's any of you watching on Twitter or Facebook right now and you're not subscribed on the YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bells as well as liking the videos. Really appreciate it, guys. And I really enjoy reading all your comments, both online, live and offline. So keep the support going. That is absolutely most appreciated. But we're going to get to the final couple of screenshots that Frank has here. And guys, let us know your thoughts on these two pieces. But obviously, we were just analysing the sort of front four there as per the title of the video, the thumbnail of the video. But this one's more about, I tell you what, I'll just let Frank discuss this one.
Yeah, so the quality on this isn't as good as I took this off Twitter as opposed to the highlights themselves. But if I kind of explain it, you've got Jed Spence here on the ball, and just out of your picture is Kolo Muani and Xavi Simons, who made a pretty good run. And this wasn't the only occasion of this. It was just the one I found. And it's something that I've said about since the summer. I remember, as I say, I feel like I mention this every week, but when we played Bayern Munich and lost 4-0 in the friendly in the summer, I came on here and I said that Jed Spence can't continue to play left back. They need to sign a left back. He can do it for a game or two. He can cover when needed, but he shouldn't be consistently playing as a left back. And I know you dodges out, but they should have signed the left back. This pass in here, if I can find the right one, that's the one I want, is not a difficult pass, right? For a professional footballer, right? It shouldn't be on their so-called weaker foot, right? I don't think that'd be a difficult pass for myself, and I'm not a great footballer, right? That's a pretty simple 10-yard pass, right? And he fails to make it. And then if we look at the next one, if it wants to load, he turns back.
Oh yeah.
And this wasn't the only occasion he did this, by the way. So he turns back, he plays a pass back. Kolo Muani had actually dropped in to make it easier, and this is why I felt a bit for Xavi Simons and Kolo Muani, but Xavi Simons. Kolo Muani had made that run from there to there, and Xavi Simons had gone. So what they wanted was for quite a simple pass, as I say, into Jed Spence. Sorry, from Jed Spence into, I can go back to the previous photo. What they wanted, it was very simple, was Kolo Muani, where it is here. He wanted that ball played into him there, and he was going to send it for Xavi Simons, right? And Simons made a good run. It's good. He ran off him. That's the sort of stuff I want to see, and that's where I mean that I saw little pieces of their link up starting to come into fruition. But it's just really poor. He turns back, and we go. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think this is then the one where the ball's then played into Bentancur, who then gives it away, and we end up conceding quite a good chance. And I know it certainly happened from Jed being silly.
Xavi Simons,
that one.
Xavi Simons gave it away in a similar position as well.
Yeah, there was one where Simons gave it away around there, and then there's one where Jed put everyone else under pressure. The ball ends up getting played into Bentancur. He gives it away, and we nearly concede. And it all comes from Jed Spence not playing a simple pass down the line, which he is far more than capable of playing. And I think that's the frustrating bit. So yeah, that needs to change. That needs to be worked on, and him actually just playing the ball down the line instead of there's such a reluctance and an unwillingness to go on his left foot, which is fine. He's not left-footed. Then they should have signed a left back. And the fact they haven't is so frustrating to me personally.
Absolutely, mate. Guys, what do you think on these points here? Let us know in the comments below. Frank, have you got any more points with?
No, that's it.
Got it. Pretty well summarized, if I'm being honest, mate. Really good stuff. Guys, let us know if you spotted anything in that game. I've got to say though, Frank, in a similar position when Xavi Simons gave the ball away here, it was pretty poor awareness. I've got to be honest. I know we don't have the screenshot ready, but I think your point about needing a left back is key. I mean, he doesn't seem that comfortable on the left. I think Jed Spencer hasn't been good in the last few weeks, if I'm being deadly honest. I think he's proven his limitations and his weaknesses at times. But there we go. Simons looks like a player who stepped up a level too high. It looks like a frightened rabbit says, "What's the point, FC?" Never in doubt with a funny comment from you. And I absolutely think we need a left back, says Mirage. If I told you 30 years ago that if you're average having problems taking on players in the Premier League, that you could be valued at 50 million, these players are not worth their pay packet. Guys, let us know what you think on what's the point, sort of points here, if you like. But guys, that is, sorry, just one more from DFST. DFST, it's been a while. Where did you go after the transfer window, my friend? I hope you're doing well. He says it's not frustrating they don't have a left back. It's such poor planning and not having one in the under 21s. Shocking by Lange et al. Frank, I can see you nodding your head there. We've got some problems in the youth department on that side of things as well, right?
Yeah, it's really bad. They have there's a couple of players, and I'm not going to pretend to name the ones that do this. But I think Jamie Bowden was one a couple of years ago that was kind of shoehorned into different positions. And I know there's a couple of them now, and I can't think of off the top of my head. But they have players that are natural centre midfielders, but are forced into playing left back and right back for the academy. And that's quite sad. That it's like Callum Molly-Assessi's one that plays in midfield every week because he's a good player at that level. Tyrese Hall was another one. But the ones who are just not as good to play there get forced into playing fullbacks. They should have a good couple of players coming through at every age level for every position. Two for every age level, every position sorted. So that when problems like this arise, you can bring one in. Like Liverpool bring in Conor Bradley, and Chelsea brought in Lewis Hall, who's obviously now doing well at Newcastle. Yeah, he didn't maybe set the world alight at Chelsea, but they brought him in when they needed to, and he's playing. And then he goes and Chelsea brought in Josh Achempong, who's now playing at the back for them when they've got a lot of injuries for centre halves. So it doesn't feel like we can do that. It feels like we loan out any that are kind of capable of playing at this level, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. And I think for development, it's good. But if we lose a centre half, we're talking about Junai Byfield possibly being part. He's in the squad, but he's 16. He's just 16 in the last couple of months. Or if we lose the strikers for whatever reason, you've got Dane Scarlett, or you're going to have to go really young. You lose Xavi Simons and you haven't really got many 10s left. You're starting to talk about Williams Barnes, who's 16. And it's like, we don't have that gap of players who are 18, 19 and are there to make a bar Dane Scarlett, who's literally not being given a kick. So it's pointless. And the fullbacks are quite an issue at the moment. So now that Paratici's back, he's one that, to be fair, in his time here, was pretty good. And I know he made a point of saying at the start that he thought the academy was awfully run. And since then, we've certainly seen, I think, a slightly better quality of player come through. Maybe they're not all getting into the Tottenham team, but Williams Barnett, Mikey Moore, Jamie Donnelly, Will Lancashire, these sort of guys are starting to sort of be known. And we're all very aware of the youth team now, which I don't think we were 10 years ago. And I think that's probably, that's the shift. So I think with Paratici coming back, that will probably change. And I think we will start to see, hopefully longer term, that sort of youth development.
Who did you say had an issue with our youth setup?
Paratici.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully now he's at a more full-time basis, he can have an impact on that as well. But DFST is agreeing with your points here, mate. He said good points, great points, Frank. Mirage saying, I think Alex Vale will be a good left-back signing. What's the point saying fans pay extortionate ticket prices to be served up dross from most championship level players on astronomical wages? What's the point? Do you know what? Like I said, first half yesterday, I thought we were not even that good. Like to be honest, like it was two essentially set pieces, which is crazy to think. But second half, I thought we were professional. I thought we were professional in the way we went about things. I thought Everton were probably unlucky not to have scored one. I think there was a chance where Gary Neville on the commentary thought it was in, and he was about to say that's exactly what Everton deserved. And maybe the complexity of the game would have been completely different if they had scored that. But, we rode our luck a bit, and it was a really good goal from a Richarlison knock-on and a Sarr-headed goal. So it was good to see them come off the bench and make an impact. Lancashire has 4 goals in 11 games for a very poor Oxford team. I think he should be sort of there and thereabouts. I don't know how long. Is Lancashire there the whole season, Frank? I mean...
Yeah, he is. And this is kind of where I say maybe that quality is not always there. But I would rather see someone like him who has a point to prove and wants to really make himself known than Richarlison. And I don't mean to keep going back, but when I watched, I was watching the Sunderland game the other day when they beat Chelsea, and Wilson Isidore literally works so hard, like
good
so
plan.
hard. And he's not the only one. I mean, you literally Igor Thiago at Brentford on Saturday night against Liverpool was sublime. I think Ekatike is one that works very hard. You go through, all these teams have a striker that work very hard. Solanke does that. Thomas Frank needs that, and he did with Tony. He did with Watkins for a while, and he did with Visser last year. But he doesn't have that at the moment, and so I'm surprised. We've not seen any of Dane Scarlett, actually, to be brutally honest. Even for like 5 minutes while we're 3-up or whatever. I'm surprised.
He's on the bench.
He's on the bench every week, and they've taken him across Europe. And I'm very surprised he's not been given 5 minutes here and there to be given a chance, just to even when we've won a game.
Yeah, like yesterday would have been a good chance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised. And he brought on Tell for 5 minutes, and I find that slightly confusing.
Yeah, you got me thinking about the sort of the strikers in the Premier League that do work very hard off the ball as well. You think of the likes of Evan Nilsson, really good at doing that for Bournemouth as well, as an example. I'm trying to think of a few other ones off the top of my head. I think you named a lot of them that sort of play for those sort of middle of the top to the mid-table sort of positions as well. We do definitely need a striker that's maybe. I mean, but then again, Colin Morney did do well yesterday, mate. I got to say, I think he did all right. I don't think he did amazing. I don't think he did great. I think he showed signs that it's there. And don't forget, he's not completely match fit. And you said yourself, the other day, you think he has never played football before. But I tell you what, he put in a better performance than Tell has been, or Richarlison has been up front. So I was quite happy to see that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I was slightly harsh, and I think that frustration came from more being annoyed at the club than him, maybe, in that they've signed this guy who's on a year-long loan. That means you have to make an instant impact, and yet we're talking about it's been nearly 2 months since he signed and he's barely played, and that annoyed me. Now that I see that he has something genuine to offer, which hopefully as he gets fitter, that will only increase, I can't help but feel that it's going to hopefully be quite a good deal, and maybe they look to keep him past this year, but for now he needs to get fitter and keep playing more games.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, guys. Let us know what you think in terms of the striker department, in terms of the youth setup, and in terms of the players that are on the fringe of the team. Do you think we should go strong for the Newcastle game? Well, I put a comment in the chat. It says, "Who wants a preview of the Newcastle game with a predictive lineup and a breakdown of that?" We will bring that to you tomorrow. If you guys please do me 3 massive favors, which is smashing the like button. I know I've asked you 3 times this episode, but the numbers have been great tonight. Almost 100 of you watching across Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Really appreciate the support. Honestly, does mean a lot. Turn on the notification bell as well as liking the video, and subscribe if you are new. Those are the 3 magic things that I'd love you to do. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And we will see you again very soon for another episode on the Spurs-related YouTube channel. Thanks to Frank. Great analysis as always, mate. We will be back on your screens again, as I said, very soon. And please make sure you are smashing the support. And we'll see you very soon in another episode on the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again very soon. And remember, as always, come on, you Spurs. Come on.